Okay, so I'm just talking randomly. I remembered something and I just kind of want to say it, but before that, I'll just say that it's just really hard because I want to make this quickly and kind of get to what I need to get doing. Because, I do feel bad, and I feel bad when I have to, know that people deserve their wins, but then I also want mine, if that makes sense. And so it's difficult because I want success too. I want to do well too, you know? And I think will it elude me? And I think often there's a 99.9999999% chance that it will. And then there's a 0.0000000000001 chance that it won't. And so that's what this memory kind of speaks to. So I know that I guess I wanted to mention that I just remembered that the HBCUs are on threat and warning for, reasons that anyone watching this would know. Um, and I had mentioned the girl in the video prior, and I saw her years later when I graduated high school. This person happened to be in the same city as Washington, D.C. And actually, it's been almost 20 years for certain experiences, and I'm just now starting to work through them, starting to articulate different things, which sucks because I think, can I still win? You know, in an environment where people who look like me lose their jobs because they're the easiest targets, just having recently gotten access to certain environments. So I saw this person, and, I went out to lunch with them. They saw me at a restaurant that my older siblings had taken me to for graduating. And mind you, this is what's difficult because, I had no relatives or anybody there. And now that I look back, and, um, you know, and it's difficult having to face the fact that, looking at things and kind of seeing how they're out of whack and off base. And there's more things that I could say too, and I don't feel comfortable because, like, when I say I come from the gutter, I'm kind of a bastard's child, more or less. Um, and this individual, they don't win in life, they're on the sidelines because their origin story is pretty messed up. So I saw to see this girl, and, you know, mind you, I had gotten lucky to graduate. I don't know really how I did. I know how I did, but in the sense of the mistakes that I was making. And so we went out. She wanted to go out, and at the end of that, we went to a place called Busboys and Poets, which is in Washington D.C. And at the end, they had like wanted to give me. I gave them a hug, but I shouldn't have given them a hug because I actually didn't feel comfortable going out with them because I was starting to recognize what my disadvantages were, what my experiences were, and I was actually kind of jealous. And and that's not good. That's actually not good to say online probably because it can be used against you, but whatever. It's what it is, and it's something I, continue to work on, and in certain aspects it's something I've gotten improved over time, strangely, maybe not so strangely. But anyway, I started to recognize the ways in which this person had privileges and advantages over me and weren't just going to make this just the same mistakes and get lucky to get through them and be behind once they got through them. Same bad decisions. So, when I hugged them, they were like, oh, get off of me, whatever. And so I feel like really ashamed about it, but I guess they kind of felt that I wasn't really, they probably felt that I didn't really want to hug them, because I was envious. And, people can usually feel your emotions And I know for me, I tend to be like conduct energy very purely. Um, uh, and so that kind of contrasts to when I was really young and had tried to like comfort this person, where that was kind of like pretty genuine. And years later, but what I say is that I say that to say is that, um, you know, I guess I can take that, take that L, take that not good way of being, but then also start to understand what I'm coming from so that I can exist and still be able to tell the story and be able to have the people around that I think would be a better match for what this story is. Um, and I could go on, but I kind of have been honest about that. But what I'm saying is that I kind of have so many regrets as far as not seeing what my potential was. Part of that envy was that, not having the encouragement to see what my potential was. Why did I start in theater? Why did I say I wanted to dance when actually I had more affinity for so many other subjects? The reason for that is because I'm a black girl and I felt that I was inferior to these people, and this same person. I only maybe sat at the same lunch table at some point, maybe earlier years before I kind of drifted away, would only be able to talk about television shows. I could never do anything actually like a genuine discussion because I never felt comfortable. I felt inferior to these people coming from a more adverse environment. And basically, what that says to me is that years later, I couldn't hide it anymore. I couldn't hide what this experience and what this story was that for me was starting to come up and show itself and need to have its voice and need to have its say, instead of trying to pretend that everything's okay, because things around me and my decisions were showing me that things weren't. So I think, I had a scholarship that if you studied STEM up, it would cover up to PhD level. Why didn't I study something in STEM? Why did I start in theater and go to French when I have this side of the brain? And I think that I'm having to understand and rewire and see why. And so, in making the last video, that is kind of what this did. And the importance of really just looking at things, learning from them. And it sucks that it's taken me almost 2 decades to figure things out. Is it all too late for me? This is a question I constantly ask because you're supposed to be young and sprightly and anyway, but I'm still in Act 1. God willing, I want all of this to work out. But for Act 2, with God willing health, because again, there's so many illnesses, and that's another thing to discuss because that's something that's very close to me for very, very personal reasons that, certain things online is probably not always good to disclose when it's just that serious and personal. But that's it. But let me go ahead. I think I want to end with this thing called the microwave that I learned. I want to be able to talk about all of these things, and please bear with me because, yeah. All right, the microwave I learned is actually a modeling thing that is from Tyra Banks, and it actually it looks like a microwave with the plate turning. Again, like, how do you make a microwave? What is the engineering of that? How do you make a car? What is the engineering of that? You look at homes. How do you build a home? Oh wow, look at all of the things that are in the United States. How could countries that are developing implement some of the things in natural grocery stores? How could they implement some of the things that are in roadways, and what things have already been done in these countries that historically with different civilizations and empires that we don't know of today, so are blind to the things that have already been done in these nations, and and regions. Maybe nation is I'm not sure where that idea comes from. So, but that's it. So anyway, let me go ahead and share the microwave with you. And I don't know if I have the camera done right, but it's basically this, where your feet go like this, and then you turn like this. And I can't really dance still right now because my foot is still in the healing process. So anyway, like I just did a kind of talked about more like act 2, but I'm still in the throes of act 1. So, and I still can't drive. I can drive, but I don't have a car, and I'll have to take driving lessons again. But having to be honest with where I am, because I carry a lot of shame with that, a lot of shame. So let me go ahead and go. I'll connect these videos, post them, and go ahead and move on to the next thing. All right, oh dang, it's already, all right, thanks, bye.